Welcome back to Flimsy Today. Human beings are not perfect thinkers, and we often make thinking errors that can lead to flawed decisions and actions. These errors occur due to cognitive biases, mental shortcuts, and other factors that influence the way we think. Recognizing these errors and understanding how to avoid them is essential for making informed decisions and avoiding unnecessary mistakes. In this ultimate guide, we will discuss the most common thinking errors and how to identify and overcome them. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs or hypotheses while ignoring information that contradicts them. This bias can lead to the overestimation of the validity of one's own beliefs and the underestimation of the validity of others' beliefs. For example, if you believe that a certain dietary supplement is effective, you may only seek out information that supports this belief, while ignoring evidence to the contrary. To overcome confirmation bias, one should actively seek out information that challenges one's beliefs and hypotheses. Additionally, one should try to avoid forming opinions or conclusions before examining all the available evidence. Hindsight bias. Hindsight bias is the tendency to believe, after an event has occurred, that one would have predicted or expected the outcome. This bias can lead to an overestimation of one's ability to predict future events and an underestimation of the role that chance or external factors may have played in the outcome. For example, after a stock market crash, one may believe that they knew it was going to happen all along. To overcome hindsight bias, one should try to consider all the factors that may have contributed to an event and avoid making assumptions about what could have been predicted beforehand. Availability bias. Availability bias is the tendency to overestimate the likelihood of events that are more readily available in one's memory or imagination. This bias can be caused by the media's coverage of certain events, personal experiences, or vivid imaginations. For example, one may overestimate the likelihood of being in a plane crash due to the media's coverage of such events, despite the fact that the likelihood is very low. To overcome availability bias, one should try to rely on statistical data and objective evidence rather than personal experiences or vivid imaginations. Additionally, one should try to seek out information on events that may be less readily available in their memory. Anchoring bias. Anchoring bias is the tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information encountered when making decisions. This bias can lead to an overestimation or underestimation of the value of a certain item or concept. For example, if a car salesman starts negotiations with a high price, the buyer may anchor their expectations too high and end up paying more than they would have otherwise. To overcome anchoring bias, one should try to gather as much information as possible before making a decision and avoid making assumptions based on initial impressions. Overconfidence bias. Overconfidence bias is the tendency to overestimate one's abilities, knowledge, and judgment. This bias can lead to risky decisions and an underestimation of the likelihood of negative outcomes. For example, a person may believe they can safely drive while intoxicated, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. To overcome overconfidence bias, one should try to be realistic about their abilities and knowledge and seek out feedback from others. Additionally, one should try to consider all the possible outcomes of a decision, rather than assuming a positive outcome. Thanks for watching.